why does Eowyn's triumphant moment work? Similar scenes created today feel inauthentic, forced, and even cringe. Yet this moment felt earned and created meaningful impact in the legacy of the film. Why? To answer this, we need to examine the feminine versus the masculine, and specifically what different ways feminine strength can manifest. There are multiple forms, and we'll briefly look at a few different examples. However, we will primarily explore one expression of the feminine strength and how it relates to Eowyn. From there, we can better understand why we need feminine strength and not just masculine women. The core of this essay is an honest attempt to view the beauty and truth of the feminine. Through Eowyn's moment in The Return of the King, we can see that power of the feminine and what is missing when we ignore the reality of that strength, and even the importance of the feminine and the masculine working together. Let's look into Eowyn and the hidden power of the feminine. To begin, let's broadly review what masculine strength looks like, with the intention to contrast it with what the feminine contains. Masculinity is the strength of the warrior, the explorer and the hunter, a physically strong and capable fighter who conquers evil for his kingdom or family. He is the one who willingly sacrifices himself in physical battle. He explores the dangers of the unknown to uncover secrets, hidden wisdom, treasures, and bring home vital resources. He is the one who fights and brings order to the world around him, such as the benevolent king. The masculine gives love, protection, and even his life to the feminine. Of course, there are more manifestations and nuances within, but this overview should paint a familiar picture. Today we see a large proportion of characters in film and TV display these masculine qualities. The excitement of battle and exploration lends itself more easily to screen and story, or at least, as we'll see soon, it appears more clearly. Moving on, let's investigate different variations of feminine strength and where we may have seen them before. These are seen less frequently today and are more opaque, more difficult to clearly portray. The feminine is nurturing transformation, surrounding that which she loves, providing the environment for her loved ones to transform and fulfill their virtuous potential. This is the role of the mother and the nesting instinct. We see this embodied by Martha Kent and her humble traditional values, creating a Kansas upbringing that helped Clark live for truth, justice, and the American way. From there, he can become Superman. We also see this in a different way in Beauty and the Beast. Belle's journey is one to transform the beast into a prince. Her strength surrounds him. Her vision of who he is and can be helps sand down the beast's rough edges. The second is guidance or path correction, intercession. This is the traditional queen mother, the one who intercedes with the king on behalf of others. The feminine has a wisdom and perspective that guides others. Her communication transforms the world around her. The feminine also has the tact and humility to strategically move in and out of the spotlight as needed. She helps redirect and focus the wisdom of the household. She doesn't publicly rebuke, overrule, and take over for personal glory. However, her whispers and guidance are more powerful than you may think. Next, we see the feminine as the radical yes to a mission and the role within. There's a trust, a confidence in the bigger picture. The feminine strength can be faith itself. Beyond simple belief, the inherent action born of faith sets the stage for more to come. Overall, what does the feminine strength do? The feminine is reception and transformation of love itself. The world itself grows and changes within her. It's important to understand that these qualities are not independent or mutually exclusive of one another. A complex feminine character might combine a few or even all of them. As a courageous acceptance of vulnerability, the feminine is trusted with the rough clay of potential. She has faith in her purpose and mysteriously molds and creates something more beautiful, more powerful than previously thought possible. After a broad understanding of the masculine versus the feminine, let's ask a simple question. How are strong women portrayed today? There's an emphasis to create strong women in stories, but what outline of strength is their template? Considering their emphasis on being physical warriors, it obviously draws almost exclusively from the masculine. For example, we see Rey from Disney Star Wars or Captain Marvel or Terminator Dark Fate. Generally, these women can fight anybody and are naturally better with little struggle and don't need help, especially from men. These films attempted to portray strong women, but they didn't understand what masculine and feminine really are. They didn't create strong females, they just perversely made them men. Flat representations of men at that. Not only is there an emphasis on masculine characteristics, but there's an active rejection of the feminine. Remember, the feminine receives love, transforms it into something new. There's an element of communion within the feminine. These modern strong women are commonly loners who reject advice or guidance or love itself in a way. Rather, they find their strength only from within themselves.
I taught myself.
You taught yourself that magic?
Yeah, I did.
It's an ego-driven rejection of archetypal truth and a rejection of love itself, which we'll come back to in the end. The desire to create strong women via masculine attributes is ironically harming women. How? Because it leaves little room for the feminine truth, and as we will cover very soon, it harms the exponential growth of both male and female, masculine and feminine. Pope John Paul II, in his apostolic letter, Mulieris Dignitatem, The Dignity of Women, a document on the importance of the feminine, warned us. In the name of liberation from male domination, women must not appropriate to themselves male characteristics, contrary to their own feminine originality. There is a well-founded fear that if they take this path, women will not reach fulfillment, but instead will deform and lose what constitutes their essential richness. It is indeed an enormous richness. Now let's return to the feminine and look at one more expression of strength, the humiliation and destruction of the corrupt king. There is a traditional idea that the feminine will begin to crush the head of evil, and the genesis of this strength is seen in Genesis. Basically, even her offspring will crush the head of the serpent, crush the head of evil.
So God will use a new woman to bring humiliation and defeat to the serpent, and this woman is going to be used, as Genesis 3:15 describes and announced beforehand, to bring a crushing blow to the head of the serpent.
Yes, it describes her offspring, but it's not ambivalent to her role being important. The crushing of the snake begins with her. She is the catalyst. We see this imagery continue in the Bible. As written by Dr. Shree and discussed by Dr. Scott Hahn, we see Jael use a spike through the skull of General Sisera. Then it's a woman who crushes the skull of Amalek with a rock. Corrupt evil crushed in similar ways. Finally, Mary as the new Eve continues this mission. Here we see that there is not just a passive role for the feminine in the battle against corruption and evil. This is an active role, which brings us to Eowyn. Let's look at Eowyn in the Peter Jackson films. Since more people will understand the details from the movies rather than the books, we will be using them as our reference point. Regardless of choice of source, Eowyn delivers an incredibly powerful female strength moment that escapes the cringe factor of other girl power moments. So why does this moment work? Simply put, it's active feminine strength, not a female with masculine strength. And that feminine strength is exemplified in the climactic moment, and particularly its dialogue. As a quick review, the battle at Pelennor Fields. Rohan has surprised the armies of Sauron to help Gondor. Despite their efforts, the battle begins to turn back in the favor of Mordor, as the Ring Wraith leader, the Witch King of Angmar, wreaks havoc upon the good guys. As long as this evil king of men rains chaos from above, the battle appears lost. The Witch King even fatally wounds King Theoden of Rohan, the leader of the masculine charge. Hope is hanging on a string. Enter Eowyn. The hidden feminine strength snuck in. Told to stay away, she entered the battle veiled, trusting her role in the drama will unfold. And her moment arrives. She begins to battle the Witch King, even killing his dragon. Although she briefly holds her own, she becomes clearly outmatched, weaker, and unable to defeat the enemy with masculine strength. She wasn't stronger or better with a sword. Said another way, she wasn't more masculine than her adversary or the brave men fighting next to her. The masculine evil, embracing his arrogance, takes a moment to gloat on his strength, proclaiming the prophecy that no man can kill me. Blinded by this arrogance, he is unable to see his vulnerability in what comes next. Enter Merry the Hobbit, another being lacking in traditional masculine strength. He suddenly stabs the Witch King's leg, causing him to fall and be set up for the fatal blow from our feminine hero. And this development is not insignificant. It is Eowyn's feminine support, belief, and nurturing that makes this moment even possible. Eowyn sees and nurtures this childlike being's potential. She knows that he will also have an important role to play before the swords are put down. Her faith becomes his strength. And without this nurturing, Merry would not be there. Sure enough, Merry's courage, born from Eowyn's support, creates the opportunity for the crucial moment. What does she say, preparing to level the fatal blow? Does she say, "I don't need men"? No. Does she say, "I am woman, hear me roar"? No. Does she say, "Smash the patriarchy"? No. At that great battle to defeat the great oppressive evil, to return the crown to the benevolent king, Eowyn courageously snuck into battle. She did not charge forward, hair flowing and full of girl power. Veiled, she remained ready for her moment. And when the powerful, corrupt king of men was winning the battle, this pivotal moment came. When the masculine strength could not defeat this evil, Eowyn stepped up. Finally unveiled, she triumphantly declares,
"I am no man."
Eowyn, in all her feminine strength, thrust the sword into the dark void of his face where his humanity used to be, causing him not to fall backwards, but rather his crown and skull to be crushed inwardly on itself. This is the turning of the tide. Her feminine strength turns the battle, creating the environment for the virtuous masculine to eventually win. She is the skull crusher. She is the genesis of victory. While modern movies have women screaming, "I am man," or "I am better than man," or "I don't need man," the truth, and Eowyn along with it, screams, "I am no man." In a thematic way, Eowyn is asserting her essential richness, to return the JP2 sentiment. Even inside the masculine environment of a physical battle, it is the differentiation and richness of her femininity that is essential to victory. It is indeed an enormous richness. The corrupt king is so blind to his own evil, arrogance, and other weaknesses that he doesn't see what is veiled. He doesn't see what he views as beneath him. He doesn't see Eowyn or Merry, nor the blade about to be jabbed in his face. He is ready to defend, parry, fight all masculine strength, yet he is unprepared for the feminine fight. This feminine strength is hidden from view at times and is unveiled when it is perhaps least expected. It waits for its moment to strike. This blow may not defeat all evil immediately, but it is the turning of the tide. The feminine surrounds, supports, and grows the masculine effort. The opportunity for masculine courage, strength, and sacrifice is now open. Like marriage, they work in harmony. In a way, women are first, not just in receiving chivalrous action, but in the action of faith and courage. When the masculine will not cooperate or break through, as stubbornness and pride are frequent, mercy and justice go through the feminine, the faithful, the first to say yes to the divine plan. Mary, Mother of God, likewise turns the tide. Her radical yes to bear the child of God is the start of the great battle against sin itself. JP2 writes, this event leads to the turning point of man's history on earth, understood as salvation history. This event is realized in her and through her, and we can see the recognition of this virtue as it is not to be diminished or ignored, but rather celebrated. He recognizes Mary's active feminine courage and strength as the catalyst, the new Eve, playing her part in the crushing of the head of the snake. What happens if we remove or limit the feminine strength? No redirecting wisdom, no nurture and growth, no transformation, and perhaps the inability to turn the tide against evil. Let's go one step further. It is important to also understand the cooperation of the feminine and the masculine. They are obviously different. One is not better than the other. In mutual service of each other, they each bring their own strengths. And when they cooperate, it creates something more dynamic, robust, and powerful than by themselves. It appears the masculine and the feminine have a reciprocal exponential nature. The masculine gives love and strength to the feminine, which nurtures, directs, and grows that strength to be returned, which then is used to give more love, sacrifice, strength, and then received and radiates further. This is the two-way sincere gift of self. The positive strength of the masculine and the feminine create a positive feedback loop, which creates a non-linear exponential growth of love, strength, and goodness. When strong women of stories today only find their strength from within, it is a rejection of this process. Love, strength, transformation need to be given and received. There's only so much love and strength you can find by yourself. The solo route is finite, the cooperative route is infinite. If we remove the feminine, there is no return to the masculine. The chain is broken. The exponential potential of goodness itself is limited. The masculine needs the feminine. In order to have the strong masculine present, you need the strong feminine to give to the masculine and vice versa. Women, love your men, and men return that love. The strength we are given is meant to be given away. The goodness and beauty we may create may surpass our wildest dreams. In our stories and movies, we should see the masculine in action in service of the feminine and vice versa. We shouldn't just see either in a silo for their own glorification, but in unity and support. Eowyn's moment is rooted in truth. Truth of the act of feminine strength. Truth of the reciprocal relationship of the feminine and the masculine. We as a society need strong feminine women. They will turn the tide against the evils of today. If we are all masculine, we severely limit the potential of our strength. Let's go stronger together in the unity of masculine and feminine. Please, women, mothers, fathers to daughters, do not forget the feminine and its unique strength. Revive it. For you are no man.